Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming back to Living to Do's review of Bel Air, Episode 6, The Strength to Smile. First, I would like to ask if you would like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. And you can also find me on Fanbase, the new app that is out there that monetizes content. You can find me on Fanbase under the same name, Living to Do. So let's get started with the review. We see Will, he's looking at his phone, and what's going on is that he's gone viral back home in Philly. People are calling him a snake, and of course, that hits his gut. You know, when you're from the streets, one thing you can't be is a snake. They just catch hell for that. Anyway, his family, his aunt and uncle, they try to talk to him about it. He wants to run off, and in doing so, he accidentally breaks something in their house. That kind of puts a stop to everything, and Uncle Phil orders him into his office where he could speak to him. Uncle Phil is talking to him, and Will is saying that, it's Trey's fault, and he's hurt because he lost his friendship with Trey, his boy. He calls him his boy, and that relationship is apparently over because of what he's done. I guess Trey has talked about Phil back home, and that kind of just solidified the friendship is over. Uncle Phil consoles Will with a hug, and he tells him that everybody goes through something, and this is what these young people need, boys and girls. These guys, they need a strong figure like Uncle Phil in their life. This is much needed for Will, I think, to help him navigate his feelings while he's growing up and going through life, because a lot of times you don't know what is ahead of you. These kids, if they only knew these friendships and all this stuff, these feelings would pass, but they're living in the moment, sometimes feeling these feelings for the first time. And Uncle Phil shares with Will that he's going through something too. Fox News has a lot to say about him. They're going against him because of his campaign. Apparently and definitely they believe differently than Uncle Phil. We see the families trying to get the event that Aunt Viv is having together. They're having their lupus event. It's to honor Gail's mother. It's to honor Lisa's mother, Gail. It's Aunt Viv's best friend. She died of lupus, and so they do these fundraisers every year to raise money for the cause. One thing that Aunt Viv is reminded to do by Uncle Phil is to be nice, and apparently he thinks there could be an issue with Aunt Viv and Fred Wilkes's new wife. That's Lisa's dad. Apparently he married a new woman less than a year after his wife died, and maybe that doesn't sit too well with Aunt Viv. Also, this new wife and Fred are expecting a baby. So this is some information, I guess, that we didn't know before. I didn't even know Phil remarried. So that's going to be interesting to see. So next we have, later on, we see Hillary and Ashley. They're cooking to help set up for this event. And Aunt Viv is a little emotional about it, and Ashley is asking Hillary about why their mom is acting a certain way, and she says that losing Gail was like losing another sister, and so that doesn't make sense to Ashley. So she asks another sister. Apparently, Aunt Viv, I guess, kind of sees that she lost her sister, Will's mother. And Hillary is she's kind of alluding to the fact that it has something to do with Will. Uncle Phil hears this and he breaks up their conversation purposely. We never get to find out what is going on. We're going to be held on, strung along a little bit more to find out what the real issue is between Aunt Viv and her sister. Ashley also talks to her sister Hillary. Actually, she brings some people from her school, or some girl that she likes from her school, some classmates. Actually, it was a boy and a girl, to the party, and she has them meet Hillary. And so we all see who Ashley likes. She likes Lucia, and Hillary meets her for the first time, but Lucia is eyeing Will. She notices him playing the piano. Will's really good. I guess he picked that up in Philly. They never gave us the backstory on his piano playing. But Ashley finds out that Lucia likes Will, so she's not gonna like her. So she's a little heartbroken about that, of course. Later, we have Aunt Viv, and she's talking to Angela, Fred's wife. She's an interior designer, and she wanted to take part or help in some event, or in some way for the event. But Aunt Viv doesn't really want her help, and either does Lisa, because Lisa doesn't like her stepmother, Angela. She's come into her home. She's made everything about her. Angela hates her, and now there's a baby on the way. Every time that Angela tries to talk to Aunt Viv, she can always find a reason to get away from her. But then she corners her at the event, or right before during the event, and she wants to help again, or she wants some advice on Lisa, and she wants to get close to Lisa, and she wants to know what to do. And Aunt Viv says, just let today be about Lisa's mother, because she knows that Lisa thinks, and I guess Aunt Viv thinks, that Angela makes everything about her. Will tries to separate Aunt Viv and Angela, and so he starts talking to Angela, and Angela, she's talking about having a baby, and when her and her husband first talked about having a baby is when he took her away to Palm Springs, and he had actually won a golf tournament that year. Well, Aunt Viv hears this, and the thing is, this particular event, it went on during the time that Gail, his wife, was still living. So he was having an affair with Angela at the time. And so Aunt Viv walks up to her, and she questions the year that the event took place, and she catches this girl in a lie, because they acted like they met and had this relationship after his wife died, but in fact it was during the time she was still living. So that just peeves Aunt Viv. You could just believe she has this event. This poor woman died. She has this woman's daughter that looks up to her, and she doesn't want her stepmother there. She's going through things. Aunt Viv walks away, and she walks into her house, and she walks, I guess maybe in a study or her painting room, where she finds Reed Brockman or Broderick looking at her painting, and he's not really supposed to be in there. He should be out with the other guests, but he knew about this painting and he wanted to take a look at it, and he makes the biggest deal out of it. He wants to enter it in a silent auction at her event, and if it wins over a certain amount, I believe she has to work with him or put it up in his gallery. During this time, Uncle Phil sees them talking and interrupts them and wants to know who the new friend is. And there's a little tension in there because he can, I guess, can sense that this man is sniffing around on his wife. And Brock explains that his wife is doing good work. Uncle Phil didn't know she was painting, and he informed him that he's going to enter it, that they're going to enter it in the silent auction, or she is. And as they turned away, I mean, actually, Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, they were kissing in front of Reed, and I think he did that to let him know what's what. This is his wife, and you're getting too close for his taste. So they were walking out, and Reed was picking up the painting like he was going to bring it out to the auction or wherever all the other items were to be auctioned off. And Uncle Phil told him, "Oh, just leave it. We have someone. Just leave it, And Reed was saying, "No, I got it." And Uncle Phil came at him a little bit more stern, saying, "Just leave it." And Brock knew, hands off. He kind of patted him on the arm and just walked out, like letting him know there's no harm, no foul here. Later we have Lisa and Will talking. They talk about their their parents. Lisa lost her parent, and the other one is married to someone she can't stand, Angela. And Will talked about his father, his father that left him when he was 4, and he doesn't really know him at all. They were talking because Lisa was asking about. What happened was they were talking, and they were talking about their feelings and their emotions, and Lisa said that she has to tip around Carlton, and his emotions, she feels like she has to walk on eggshells so not to upset him, because I guess he's been through a lot and he has this problem with anxiety. And Carlton overheard her. He was in the balcony of his room looking over at them talking in the garden, and Carlton was furious. You just see this face has got so tight. He is angry that she said that to Will. During the silent auction, Uncle Phil saw Reed, I guess, putting down an amount that he would be willing to pay for the item. And Reed did not see Uncle Phil watching him. After Reed walked away, Uncle Phil bid it on Aunt Viv's painting more than Reed. Later, we find out that painting, Reed won the bet. So Aunt Viv is going to be hanging her painting up in his gallery. So that means Reed will be around a little bit more. That storyline will definitely continue. Carlton went looking for... I'm sorry, not Carlton. Carlton was missing from the reading that he was going to do with Lisa at the event. And so Will went looking for him. He found him in his room, and he was snorting drugs again, heavily. And it looked like he was just kind of spiraling down. He was mad at Will. He was yelling at Will about what he overheard Lisa and him talking, and that he's upset that, she feels like it's exhausting to be around him and all his emotional problems. And Carlton was just a mess about this. He was crying, and Will was consoling him, and he just couldn't make the party. He was just a mess. I mean, those she didn't really say anything really bad about him. She was just expressing her feelings dealing with his his issues, and he was a mess. I like to know more about why he is so broken behind this. What happened to him to make him feel like this? I mean, snorting all those drugs, and just very, very upset. But Will was a good cousin, and he consoled him, and he just told everybody that Carlton wasn't feeling well. So later, Lisa does the speech with Will, and Carlton saw them hugging after the speech was over. And so I don't know. I don't know how he feels seeing them getting close again, but he saw them. Aunt Viv looked on proudly at Will and Lisa doing their speech. Later, Uncle Phil talks to Fred about the fact that he's running against him in the DA's race. And of course, Uncle Phil feels like that Fred is being disloyal, running against him, but their platforms are different. And I think there's going to be dirt swung to each other. And I think the dirt that Uncle Phil is going to have on Fred is the fact that he had an affair. I don't know if Uncle Phil was out there with Fred when he won that golf tournament and had his mistress tagging along. I don't know if Uncle Phil was there. That would be interesting to find out. But Jeffrey is also out there confronting Fred, asking if there's any problems, and not Uncle Fred. Fred is calling Jeffrey Uncle Phil's muscle. So I wonder what the backstory there is. Um, he kind of just laughed at Jeffrey. Maybe he knows something too. Maybe they have dirt on each other. But that's going to unfold, and I'm really interested in that storyline. Fred and all his mess that he got going on there. Next, we have Uncle Phil. He goes into Carlton's room. Carlton's waking up from his bender, and he sees his dad sitting on the foot of his bed, and he thinks his dad knows he was taking drugs, and we find out that what Uncle Phil was really thinking is that Carlton had an anxiety attack about being maybe in front of people giving the speech with Lisa at the event, that it was too much for him, and that's why he couldn't be down with the guest. When Carlton wakes up, he's wiping his nose because he doesn't want that powder residue as evidence so that his father can see. And actually, Uncle Phil could be sly. Maybe he knows what's really going on with his brother, with his son, and maybe there was powder on his face. Maybe he's giving him an out. But as far as we can see, Uncle Phil doesn't know anything about that. In the last scene, we see Will out with Lisa. Lisa is going to be staying with Aunt Viv because she just can't go home to where her stepmother and father are. She just, can't really be around them. And she asked Aunt Viv if she could stay. And so she's staying, and she's at the pool. And she was, when Will walks up to her, she's making a sound like maybe she's crying, but she's actually laughing because Aunt Viv stuck up for her at the party, and it feels good to be supported. And she's smiling, and she's also thanking Will for doing the poem with her. And he said that it was Carlton's idea. So maybe when Will was consoling him, not to leave Lisa hanging, that Will should join her and assist her and be with her during this time. It was really hard for her to go up there. She lost her mother. Now she has to talk in front of a crowd of people. And I think maybe Carlton saying will help Lisa was possibly giving his blessing for a possible relationship that they seem like they're interested in one another and they may have a relationship. And it looks like they are because in the final scene they end up kissing, which was really sweet, and that was the end of the show. I like this show. I can't wait for next week. I hope you can. You will be with me next week when I review episode number 7. But that's it for now. Thank you for stopping by. I gotta go because I got living to do. Thank you.